Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to take a look at the fact that there is definitely going to be very big news revealed in the next couple of days. We are very close to the beginning of the Pokemon World Championships 2022. And I've got to say at this point, as a personal plug, if you haven't heard the news already, I am on the TCG commentary team for this event. I am beyond delighted. This is the culmination of a decade of work. So yeah, do make sure you check out the stream. I am extremely excited. My Twitter at the Wassy, I'll be tweeting out links like the whole week. It'll be good. So the point is that during the World Championships, there's always an opening ceremony. And during the opening ceremony, there is always a big TCG announcement. It is going to happen. And I can't tell you exactly what it's going to be this year, but I can tell you with a very high degree of certainty roughly what it is going to be. So, if we go back to the last World Championships, these were held in 2019, and during the opening ceremony, we got shown Pokémon V. Specifically, we got shown snippets, and I do mean snippets, of Zacian and Zamazenta. We were not shown the whole cards. We were shown parts of the cards at weird angles. One of the really interesting things that happened during that opening ceremony is that they gave us the briefest of looks at Zamazenta's ability. Now, I don't know if this was deliberate or not, but you got to imagine whoever made the trailer went over it with a fine-tooth comb, so you got to think they knew it was there. But if you kind of squinted and played with the contrast, etc., you could just about make out the VMAX in Zamazenta V's ability. Of course, we know now that the ability meant that you prevented all damage done by Pokemon VMAX, but at the time this was a huge deal. Because in the video, they were announcing Pokemon V, they weren't announcing Pokemon VMAX. And I thought I was super clever that I'd spotted this. Turns out, like, everyone has spotted it. And that was a little bit sad for me. They did also show a little bit of a tease at the end showing 330 HP. And that actually ended up being Stonejourner V Max. And we know that because it is the only Pokemon V or V Max in the Sword and Shield base set that had 330 HP. Ergo, had to be that one. I'm pretty sure that's true. I hope that's true. But that's what we found out 3 years ago. Now, it is worth pointing out that there was no World Championships the last 2 years. That just wasn't a thing. So we don't have anything to look at from them, unfortunately, which is a little bit sad. But then again, the good news is we can go back 3 years. And yes, I'm afraid that is incredibly relevant. Because if we go back 3 years, we find the debut of Pokemon GX. And they showed us Solgaleo and Lunala. But they showed us very heavily redacted versions of Solgaleo and Lunala. So they showed us that we have GX attacks, these once per game attacks, which is cool. And they showed us some of the things they do, but they didn't show us HPs, they didn't show us attack cost, weakness, resistance, retreat cost, and at that point, they were still actually hiding the fact that Solgaleo and Lunala were stage 2s. Because remember, box legendaries up until Gen 7 had always been basic Pokemon. So we all naturally assumed that they would be basic Pokemon again. Turned out they weren't, they were stage 2s. That was still being hidden at the time. And my point is this. If we go back 3 years to 2019, we were right on the edge of Sword and Shield being released. They were released in the November following this. They weren't out yet. And what they were basically doing was showing us what the Sword and Shield mechanic was going to be in the TCG. If we go back 6 years to 2016, Sun and Moon weren't quite out, they would be out later that year. And what they were doing was they were showing us what the Sun and Moon mechanic was going to be in the TCG. So 3 years ago, they were showing us Pokemon V in advance of the Sword and Shield base set. And 6 years ago, they were showing us Pokemon GX in advance of the Sun and Moon base set. So it really doesn't take a genius to figure out that this year they are going to show us whatever it is that are going to be brought in with the Scarlet and Violet base set. Because remember, now we have actually been told that the Scarlet and Violet base set will not be out in Japan this year. That's not been officially announced. That's not the kind of thing they would announce. But we have been, we've seen listings, etc., that tell us it's not going to be this year. We are assuming January. If everything holds like it should, again, this isn't official, but if everything holds like it should, then we should be seeing the first Scarlet and Violet base set in February in English. So what they're going to be doing at Worlds this year is showing us what these cards look like. But one of the reasons I think it is really important to look back at the history of this is because they're not going to show us whole cards. When we had the Sword and Shield reveal in 2019, they didn't actually show us a Pokemon V card in its entirety. They showed us glimpses. And they depending how you look at it, they kind of hid VMAXs from us. But then there was a clear, there were breadcrumbs left in the video. The fact that they showed the 330 HP thing at the end, which turned out to be a VMAX. The fact that they showed us that tiny little image of Zamazenta's ability, where you could see the word VMAX if you really squinted, told us that VMAXs were there, but they were kind of there to be discovered rather than actually telling us this, which is really important. With GXs, they showed us that GXs were here, but again, they showed us Solgaleo and Lunala heavily redacted, and I do think that is very, very, very important. They are going to show us whatever the new mechanic is. They are not going to show us whole cards, and they could, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying we've had 2 reveals in a row for 2 generations in a row where they haven't just gone, hey, here are the new cards. I don't think it's fair to assume that they would just show us whole cards now. And this seems like a good time in the video for Future Wassy to jump in with a little bit of a note. And that is that since I made this video, Pokemon have announced that they will be showing off the first Scarlet and Violet cards at the World Championships in London. Which we knew was going to happen. I've been explaining it all video. The thing is, they didn't actually give us very much information. Were they referring to the big reveal we're expecting in the opening ceremony? Maybe. Were they referring to showing off very simple, vanilla, generic cards of the first partner Pokemon? Maybe in the TCG gallery, which has been confirmed at Worlds? Maybe. So, I'll be honest with you, the amount of information we've got there really isn't all that much. And I did talk about it the other day. This video is really going through and looking at what they've done in previous Worlds, where they've kind of had to show off the new big mechanic from the upcoming games. So, yes, Pokemon have now officially announced that they will be showing off Scarlet and Violet cards at Worlds, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to show us the big new gimmick with high-quality scans like they did for Tag Team Pokemon, because it's far more likely they're going to do the teasy reveal, so to speak, like we've been talking about up to now. Alright, back to the video. Incidentally, I had to wait until they'd revealed the mechanic in Japan to make this video. Or not even in Japan, they revealed it everywhere. But we know now that terrestrial Pokemon, that is the new thing. That is where they go all crystalline and they've got something on their heads to show their typing. One of the really important things about that mechanic in the video game, though, is that every Pokemon has a Terra type, and that can change their typing when they terrestrialize. So Eevee is generally a normal type, and most of the time Eevee will terrestrialize and be a normal type. But you can get, for instance, a water type, or an Eevee with a water Terra type, and then when that terrestrializes, it becomes a water type. It actually changes its typing. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail as to what I think is going to be the mechanic. I did that video already. I did that prediction a week or 2 ago, so I'm not going to get into that today. But I do think it's important to note that is, the whole changing typing is quite relevant. Now, we can look at the other 2 years, the 2 years in between. We can look at 2017 and 2018, and we did actually get far clearer reveals. In 2017, they just plain showed us the Ultra Beasts. If memory serves correctly, in the trailer, they showed us Buzzwole and they showed us Guzzlord, and then they went and popped Nihilego up on the Japanese website. For some reason, that wasn't in the trailer, but they did go and then show it off over in Japan. But that wasn't such a big reveal. I don't want to downplay it, but these were just, hey, the Ultra Beasts are coming to the TCG, here's some GXs. It's not the same. It is nothing like the same level of reveal of a brand new type of card. So they just kind of dropped them on us, and that was fine. It was lovely. But it wasn't exactly some gigantic reveal. Similarly, now in 2018, that's the one that really interests me. Because in 2018, they showed us Tag Team Pokemon for the first time, they showed us Pikachu and Zekrom, and they did actually show us the whole card. Now, they didn't just give us a clear scan, but you could pause the video and cut the entire card out, and you could actually get all of Pikachu and Zekrom, the entire card out, and see the whole thing. But again, as much as that was a new type of card, in that it was a Tag Team GX, not a regular GX, it was still a GX, and it was still, a similar kind of thing. It still had a GX attack, and it gave up 3 prizes rather than 2, and it had the extra bit on the GX attack, which regular GXs didn't, but it was still a similar kind of thing. So yes, 17 and 18, in those years, they did actually show us cards, but the reveals were not on the same level in those years. We need to really look at 2016 and 2019. The last time we were waiting for a new generation. The last time they were introducing a new gimmick, mechanic, type of card, call it what you will. And they did. In both years, they absolutely showed us what was going on. But in both years, they hid it from us. They gave us some of the information, but they deliberately hid stuff. So there is going to be an announcement in the opening ceremony of Worlds. There always is. It is almost certainly going to be, well, it kind of has to be, whatever the new mechanic is for Scarlet and Violet. And that means it is going to be whatever terrestrial Pokemon are going to look like in the TCG. But do not expect a big happy reveal where they explain everything to us. Explain a video where they show us redacted cards or angled cards or obscured cards that give us some of the information but leave some of the rest hidden. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I think, but now I want to know what you think. So tell me your predictions, tell me what you think is going to be the deal in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and a whole bunch of other games and card games and video games. It's a lot of fun, alright? And do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get bonus podcasts, enter a Discord where we chat Pokemon. There's all kinds of fun things in there. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.